All right, all right. Got that audio working good. Gonna let a few people get in here. I know most of my content when I go live is viewed mostly on the playback, so I'm not gonna wait for long before I get started. But I do want to have some people present so the context is not lost for those who are coming in. Um, so I'll give it a minute or two, and then we'll go from there with it. But as you can see, today's topic is going to be about her direction not being grounded without you. And I'm going to go into a little bit depth about it. Should be maybe about should only take me about 10 minutes or so to get it through, get it accounted for. Um, I think this is important because I don't think women understand the importance of men in this aspect, and I also believe that uh, men don't understand what role they play in a woman's life in this aspect. This is also why you should have something for her to do, something for her to accomplish, a goal to meet, etc. Um, when you're dealing with a woman, well, before you're even dealing with a woman. What's going on, James Gill? But this shouldn't be a very long video. I normally don't make long videos, anyways, unless I have a co-host, as I should put it, which is a rare occasion for me, anyways. I actually have a few pre-recorded videos that I haven't released yet, um, that I still have to chop up and do some work to um, make sure they're clear and everything like that. YouTube worthy, rather, in the format that I like them in. So there's other things in there. I have voice notes that I've taken about different topics that I've never gotten to. I think about so much stuff in a day. I don't have enough time to express it in a video. But hopefully I'll get an opportunity to do that in the future. But anyways, I think that's been enough time. So I'll go ahead with the topic. Once again, the topic is going to be uh, she doesn't know her direction without you. She doesn't understand her direction without you. Um, and I want to bring up something that I don't know. I've actually seen this, and it's kind of weird to watch, but it's to be expected because this goes into the topic that I'm going to talk about. With this whole quarantine thing, uh, hey, what's going on, my Kendra? What's going on, BJ? But with this whole quarantine thing, um, I come to find I watch different women on social media. I watch different women as they put up videos and stuff like this, come up with content on their own. A lot of these women are single, um, and a lot of these women do not have children at sometimes. But one common trait that I found across the board with these women and how they behave, what's going on, Book of Rhymes, is that they're losing their minds. They're losing their minds. I think they got so used to men giving them little spurts of energy throughout their day to at least equal a quarter of a man for that day. What energy a present man would give you, that they didn't understand how important it was. I mean, to some degree, you see women, they kind of squirm a little bit about being single, and they don't really want to admit to it because that would have to be admitting failure to their femininity, um, and amongst other things with the bad attitudes, etc. But it's funny to watch these things go on. They're losing their minds because they're getting no energy. They're not getting the, hey, how you doing, baby? Oh, I'm good. I don't have time to talk right. They're not even getting that. You know, they're not even getting that back and forth exchange. Um, they may still get their little online thing, but most women, they don't necessarily computate online energy into actual useful energy, um, unless they're doing something like Instagram or something like that, or what's that other the little porn websites or something like that. That's the only time that that online energy actually matters to them, because it creates something tangible that they view as a necessity anyways. But it's kind of strange to watch these women literally without your energy. What's good, Grinch? Without your energy, her direction is lost. Her direction is lost, and I'll tell you why. It's not because most times when a woman seems like she has some type of direction in her life, is due to a old structural program that was created by a man anyways, and she's still living her life off of old software. Sometimes that is normally what happens, or it could be a current structure where it gives her some type of substance. Either way, it came from a man's energy. But when these women who didn't invest in a structure, who who didn't have a father around for whatever reason, maybe their mother was the issue, maybe the father was the issue, who knows? But either way, they didn't have anything to fall back on as far as their direction. This is why you see their life is in chaos a lot of times, because without a man is pretty much the anchor for a woman. Sure, she's on the chain and she's a boat, but she can only go so far and right, according to how long that chain is and how strong that anchor is. uh, so this is the reason why you'll see some women who can manage themselves properly, is because they're running off of a man's anchor in some way, shape, or form. And to further that analogy, the anchor is the man's structure, but the chain is how far apart that structure is from them, meaning in distance as far as time. So their father could have been their last structure, but if it was like 20 years ago, that's a very long chain. So you're going to see a lot of swaying of their boat when it comes to their stability. But if the chain is really close, or excuse me, if the anchor is really grounded, and it's the quality of anchor too. Some women don't have a good anchor, so they sway anyways. But if the anchor itself is a good anchor, and the chain is very short, meaning the distance is very short in between the time she last time had structure, a good structure, you're not going to see very much swaying of that woman in her direction. But to carry on with what I'm talking about, so the reason why a woman has issues with not being able to give herself direction is because her nature comes from chaos. A lot of people view chaos as bad, but it's not. It's only dysfunctional when it's left to go unchecked. Chaos is very necessary because it's the counterbalance to a man's rationality and his structure. Not meaning that it's going to tear it down, but it keeps it going at a good pace where it's not becoming self-destructive. Because men, we have a better regulatory system than women do, due to the fact that our regulatory system is rooted in rationality and principle. But we can come unhinged if we're left too far gone from women socially. That's not for every man, definitely, but majority of men can't handle that. And it's not because they're weak; it's just part of their nature. We're built this way. This is part of what we call this the us being social creatures, is our interaction between men and women together. It's not just your camaraderie between your same sex friends. It is a large part of your interpersonal and outer personal relationships with the opposite sex. But to further expound on what I'm talking about as far as her direction, this is also the reason why women tend to women tend to generally consider all possibilities as equal. Even though men, we can look at these possibilities and say, that 40% possibility is a whole lot different than that 5% possibility. This is the reason why women oftentimes major in the minors. because what I mean by major and minor, they take that 1% of the population and say, well, you can't say everybody, because that's just the way women are. Women are very chaotic, and they're chaotic because they consider all things equal. And I don't necessarily mean that they believe that everything is going to happen equally the same, but they believe they're equally plausible. Um, and this is the reason why a man's direction is very necessary, because uh, I really realized this when dealing with both of my women. Um, and I knew this before, but I couldn't contextualize it. I couldn't put it into speech, and now I'm able to because I've seen it repeat itself. But what happened was, is if a woman is left to her own devices, and her chain is very long from the last time she had any structural anchoring from a man, um, her chaos is going to swing. Um, and that's pretty much what I ran into. And what this looks like is, if if you let a woman swing, she's going to come up with all these conclusions that make no sense to you, because she's going to consider that 1 and 2% plausibility as actually being able to happen. Whereas you, as a man with your masculinity in check, you can see that it's clearly not the case. And this is where you come in, because you give the woman direction by making sure that she understands that, first off, this is the reason why I get submission first up front, because without that, I can't do anything. But also the reason why I do this is a practical reason. And it may sound cliche for me to say that, but I'll explain. It's a practical reason, because when the time comes for me to be her anchor and to pull her from all those chaotic thoughts that she believe are high possibilities or equal possibilities as the others, I am the anchor that says no. There's only one possibility that is higher than the rest of these things. And this brings her calm. For a lot of women, especially women who have any decent amount of femininity, she'll come and she'll submit. This is the reason why oftentimes women just need to hear you say that everything is going to be okay, because they equate all of the other possibilities as being equal, so they can't make a decision, and the anxiety is going to run because they don't know the outcome. When a man, we pretty much are the swing votes for a woman's direction, because she's going to equally go in all these directions. And this is the reason why you get a lot of stalemate between uh a woman's thoughts and what she does, because she tries to, you know equally computate all these things as being equally. And what I mean by that is, she thinks of all of them at the same time, all the possibilities, and then she equally says that they're all plausible. That's chaos. That's what chaos looks like. And once again, we as men, we come in and we say, no, that's stupid, or that's a good idea. And that gives them reassurance that they are either making the right choice or the wrong choice, and they need better direction. Masculinity is that's essentially how we use it as men. It's just that we have an abundance of it, so we don't actually sit down and think and say, well, this could be plausible, that could be plausible. No, no, no. The rationality cuts it before you even have a chance to actually cognitively think about it. It cuts it into the slices that makes more sense than saying all of them are possibilities. Well, let's see what's going on in the chat. Kendra said, masculine reassurance is very calming to our chaotic thoughts when left to our own devices. Yes. A woman goes into chaos by herself. And this is what I was talking about in regards to the women um, uh, who are stuck in this quarantine by themselves. They're going crazy because they don't know, they're slipping. A man's validation is their reassurance that the reality is real. And that sounds strange, but it's really the truth if you think about it. Because women, they derive their essence derives from a place that doesn't exist here in the natural plane. And once they slip into this mindset that everything is plausible, then their reality starts to slip. That's why a man's validation is so important to them, even if it's validating fuckery, because they want to make sure that their fuckery is actually going to be real and tangible. I often think, if a woman's nature is what we would consider crazy. And I don't mean it in a in a slight kind of way. I mean it as in she exists on a so much of a different plane that it doesn't make any rational sense to us. And I know that once again sounds so cliche, but I mean it in a sense that if you were to pull her rationality out of her and have her look at the irrational parts, even her own rationality would say that's crazy, because that's essentially what we do as men. We pull the rationality out of the woman and have her reflect back on the decisions that she may have made or was going to make. And and then she comes to a term and say, oh, uh yeah, that probably wasn't a good idea, or I'm glad you came and got in the way of that, or stopped me from doing that. But I thought that was a pretty interesting thing to talk about, because I don't think men themselves understand that we are the anchors for women, because they don't believe a lot of this stuff is they just as equally as they believe that all things are equal, they believe that none of it's going to happen as well. It's strange. I know it sounds very weird, but believe me, I know what I'm talking about. Because I psychoanalyzed a lot of women in regards to how they move about this world and the true things that they truly feel. And I run into so many contradictions. That's the only thing that I can say to men that makes sense. Because if I said it to women, they would understand exactly what I'm talking about in the way that they understand. Yes, they understand it, but it sounds like complete babble to men. Uh, um, and it's not, no, it's not necessarily that I am able to speak very fluent womanese, as Kendra would say, but it's rather that this is just a area that I am very fluent in. I'm very fluent in understanding the psychology and pathologies of people. So it's to no coincidence that when I become interpersonally intertwined with anyone, that I am able to dissect that very, very precisely. So this is the things that I've been running into. It's really weird. Like I don't know if you guys have any large major social media outlets. Just watch some of the women and the things that they do and the things that they say. It's like it's crazy. I've seen so many women say that they want babies now that have been staunchly against having kids. They've been staunchly against uh even babysitting, and now all of a sudden you want a kid. Quarantine does something to people. um and I believe that it brings out the true nature of women. So that's the reason why it's good for you as a man when you see a woman spinning out of control, and you see her um you know doing certain things that don't make any sense. It's good for you to step back and watch, because you're waiting for the part that pops up that makes actual sense for you to expound upon, because she's not going to tell you all of the thoughts in her head that make no sense, um or that could be actually plausible. She's not going to tell you everything. Sometimes you just have to wait it out. Sometimes you just have to listen. Sometimes you just need to hear herself talk. By no way, shape, means am I saying for you to be an emotional punching bag. But what I'm saying is that there is a responsibility that you as a man have to maintain a woman, and this is part of it. It's part of it. You have to have the responsibility and the know-how to anchor a woman into uh uh, a specific thought, because that's just how chaotic her thoughts are. This is the reason why it goes. Everything that I say is pretty much connected. I hope everyone understands this by now, but that's the reason why I say that there is a portion of a large portion of a woman that is consistent, but there are portions of her that are inconsistent. These are the different things that she believes are plausible, meaning that they actually work. And this is the reason why you as a man, this is the reason why this whole thing blew up, is because men were validating the fuckery. Part of the fuckery is her thoughts that are irrational. If you do not validate those, she will not move forward on those. I hope this is making sense to everyone. I don't mean to harp on that so much, because it is a topic that is becoming beat to death, but I come at it at a different angle, because there is more psychology to it than you believe. But let's see what the chat is talking about here. I see it pop a little bit. Hey, what's going on, BGS? Aqua Dragon 88. Let's see what you guys are saying. So women need our validation. Yes, they need our validation. Our validation is the energy, is part of the energy. Anyways, our masculinity is the full energy, but we validate ourselves through our own masculinity. That's the reason why men with low masculinity will wave with they're basically snakes. You know that because they're closer to being irrational, which we understand that women's irrationality is chaos. That's the reason why you can't trust them because they have no principle about themselves. I mean, all this stuff stacks on top of itself. And I hope I'm making sense with what I'm saying. BGS said, because it's not logic, it's emotion, is why it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, definitely. Um, let's see. Kendra says, as for myself, I am usually not always successful at recentering myself after going into mental spiritual chaos. I do this because the overarching program is rational. Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. That if a woman has a consistent basis of a man-made structure, and her chain is short, meaning that her time and visits with it is a short thing, then she is going to be less chaotic because she can fall back on her chaotic swings won't be as far and rangeful as a woman who didn't have that and who had a long chain. Aaron Vasquez, Irisitas. Let's see. Kendra says validation is needed also because it helps us maintain and a hold on reality. Men experience the world rationally and externally. We don't, and we rely on men to inform reality to us. Sometimes interpret. Yep, exactly what I'm saying. But we talk all the time, so we understand this very much so. But I don't think men understand this. The reason why we're saying that what we're saying in the manosphere as far as how we should handle women is because women are always, well, I'm not going to say that, but there is a large portion of women who want you to play in their arena, and their arena is the one that they can manipulate, which is the emotional realm, which comes from the irrational. So if you go ahead and you start to validate that, she is then going to start to play in her arena, and she's going to draw you further down, and then before you look up, your life is in chaos because you took the bait. Women are put here to manipulate men, and unfortunately, there are some women out there who want to manipulate men into the realm that they don't belong in. But there are some women who want to manipulate men to keep them away from the emotional, irrational parts of the world, so that they can stay focused on their purpose. And this comes in many different forms. It's not always going to look the same, and sometimes you may not even see it because women are more adept at maintaining and manipulating that world than what we even understand at a basic level. But let's see what's going on. Aka Dragon 88 said that's because y'all live in a fantasy world, so y'all need us to bring you back into reality, right? Yep, yep. That's exactly why Aqua Dragon. I mean, and it's strange because it's strange to say, and it's strange to articulate because we as men, we're like, well, you're a living being, you walk around just like me. How is it that you don't see what's going on in front of you? It's because they think all things are possible, and no, and all things are not possible all at the same time. It's up to us as men to direct them and make sure that they are going on the right path, because it gives them validation to one of the thoughts that they may have is plausible, or one of the thoughts that they may have that is not plausible, meaning that we saying, no, you shouldn't do that because that's not going to happen, right? And then they say, okay, I understand that, and they go right with it if they are a woman who have their femininity in check, because this is the masculine feminine exchange. Masculine leads, feminine follows. That's how it's always going to be. That's how it always will be. It doesn't matter if you're man or woman. If you're a man exuding femininity, and your woman is going to have some level of masculinity to you, that's the reason why she leaves you, because that's the dynamic. Masculinity leads, femininity follows. Even you as a man, even you as a male, you can express some feminine tendencies, and your woman will most times assume masculinity, especially our women as black women, because they are very adept. They were taught this from a very young age, how to be masculine. Go figure, how to be a leader, because leading is masculine. So as soon as you become a little bitch, she gonna step up to the plate and she gonna lead you. That's why we got a lot of hobosexuals running around our community and etc. It's not the majority, but it's a good enough percentage that I can talk about it because it's a real thing. But BGS says women need the society to train them rationally. Women follow form, definitely, and that's what my stream was about yesterday. About how us as men, we should not fall into what women dictate just due to their outward appearance or their feminine woes over us. We need to keep our rationality intact, our masculinity intact, because this is what's going to help us move forward. We are on a mission. We need to accomplish things in this world. And we can't have a woman being a distraction. She should be a support rather a distraction. And we are responsible for molding this reality. The reason why women run amok is because the boundaries are too far in the environment that we've created. Even as black men, we say we don't have power, but we really do, because we are the ones who made the far right and far left limits of what is acceptable for a woman to do. And how do we do this? A lot of men don't understand their power. I just spelled it to you. It's through our validation. If you validate something that a woman thinks a woman is doing irrationally, it becomes real. That's how this works. But let's see. Just the back and forth in the chat. Reinterpret the world. Let's see. I wish we was born knowing the shit instead of learning it later. I mean, it used to be that we were never actually required to learn so much about femininity. The only reason why we should probably learn it now is because we don't have any necessary physical checks and balances. Because we are a subclass. Well, we're not a subclass, but we are a lower class. And I don't mean it in regards to who's better or who's not, but I'm talking about as far as population. We are not the ruling class here, so we have to conform to what the ruling class says because they have a majority vote on what the left and right boundaries should be for general society. But the thing is, we control our interactions with women. They don't. That's where our power lies. It's not so much in the environment that's created around us, it's the environment that we create within our own selves. That's what counts. Let's see. Kendra says, it's just the failing out of our country and society. Exactly. Other cultures teach in some form that the children, yes, yep. Let's see. Lee. Women always follow masculine. The society makes them follow white men in the workplace and become the men in the house to their feminized men. That's somewhat true. But once again, our power lies in our own ability to discipline ourselves. Because here's what I understand about discipline. I don't know if I did a video on it. I think I did a video on my other channel, but how and I talked about it in a different way. But I'll explain it here. How discipline works. You don't necessarily teach anyone discipline. If you notice about, in my opinion, this is the way I see it. But if you notice when it comes to, let's look at the Karate Kid, for instance. That's a pretty old movie that everybody should know. It was pretty famous. Everybody in the '90s wanted to be learning karate for some reason when I was a teenager. But that movie has a parable in it, and the parable, how I interpret it, is that uh, that a person is going to teach you a discipline, and then you're going to learn things from that discipline on how to discipline yourself, how to apply the teachings of that discipline to yourself, of how to discipline your own self. No one can actually teach you discipline. Most people teach you a discipline. Meaning that, for instance, let's say I have a son. So if I want to teach him a how to be disciplined, and I don't know, cleaning his room, then what I would do is I would set up parameters. I would discipline him and he would understand the consequences I hope that he would understand, and he has understood the benefits of cleaning your room. Thus he disciplines himself to adhere to the discipline. He takes some things from what I'm telling him and he teaches himself the discipline. That's how it works. If you really look at how discipline works, no one actually teaches you discipline. They give you a discipline task to do, and then from that task you make a decision on if you want to discipline, if you want to take things from that discipline and apply it to yourself or not. Because there are some people, this is the reason why some people who go under a discipline don't end up being disciplined people, because it's about what you take from that discipline that disciplines you. It's not about the person actually disciplining you that gives you discipline. It's about what you take and apply from the discipline that you apply to yourself that gives you the discipline. So hopefully that makes sense. But let's see what's going on in the chat. Black Zeus 90 says Aqua Dragon, think of the yin and yang symbol. The light side is logic, the dark side is emotion. The gynocracy turns this on its head, though teaching women to be men and for men to be emotional. Yes. But yeah, I hope these things are making sense to people. I try to speak very clearly because sometimes I jumble my words because I think faster than what I can actually articulate. And I talk in a way in my mind that I understand that other people definitely don't understand, because I've said things before and people are like, what? And I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I'm talking to myself. That's why. I don't even, some of the words I cut in half. And I have to remember that other people don't understand half of words in context. So, that's why I sometimes miss words in my streams that I do. But anyway, that's my topic for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys took something from it. Like I said, I don't expect anything. I don't expect accolades. I don't expect praises or anything like that. I just put the knowledge out because I think is because that's part of my duty. That's part of what I'm here on this earth to do, is to teach people. I've turned away most of my life from doing it because it's a very taxing thing to do. But I was given this ability to retain and understand things that other people don't, not for myself, because I've applied it to myself and I don't feel true happiness from keeping things to myself. I feel true happiness from sharing and seeing people apply these things to their life. That's payment enough for me, people listening. I never wanted to be famous. I don't even care for people to know my name. Obviously, you know, I don't tell people all this crazy stuff. So, about popularity things, and I don't care. I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm just here to put the knowledge out because I think it's important. I think people can benefit off of it. I've never been the type of person that that want to directly attack anyone unless they harm me. And it is basically to show you that I'm more than what you think I am. But most times I'm humble. I'm a very humble person. Uh, that's how I operate. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up. And if you guys got any questions, like I do after every live stream that I've done before, I'll let you guys go ahead and throw those out. I'm here live. I'm probably going to start doing more streams. The only reason why I don't do more streams and more videos is because of the way I think. That may sound strange, but I don't. I've tried this before. I tried just turning on the live and just trying to say something and it doesn't come to me. I have to let my thoughts consolidate. And it's almost like a glass. Like I can give you 10% of a glass, but that's not enough to quench a thirst. I at least have to have 50% or more of my thoughts consolidated, because then I can give you a full drink of water, if that makes any sense. And I stay so busy sometimes. I do my little tasks throughout the day just to keep my busy. Little mundane things. Started a new little garden. I've been digging up my backyard and trying to get that stuff together. Just a little hobby, something to keep me busy during this quarantine thing. So If you guys don't have any questions, I'll go ahead and end the stream. But I appreciate everyone for coming through, and I hope you took something from this. And like I've said, if you guys have any questions, also I got an email address that you can hit me up at. It's just my name at gmail.com. So, you know, I'm always open to questions. I don't mind. That's why I attained all this knowledge. It's not to keep it for myself, it's to give it away to people. This is my gift. So, with that said, may you all have a good day and peace be with you.